Tonight is a competent communicator 4 speech under the subtitle How to Say It. In this particular speech, we're looking for words and sentence structure to communicate the ideas clearly, accurately and vividly. Rhetorical devices used to enhance and emphasize ideas, no jargon or unnecessary words, and correct use of grammar. The speaker is Renee CC4 and the speech is entitled There's More to Life Than Weather. With the speech entitled There's More to Life Than Weather, ladies and gentlemen, Renee CC4.
Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and welcome guests. When I was preparing to move to Edinburgh, I was really surprised by how ignorant most Californians are about Scotland. But after moving here, I was equally surprised by how ignorant many people in Scotland are about California. The first few months I was here, I really did try to explain to the inevitable question, how could you leave that weather? I really tried to explain that there actually are 4 seasons in many parts of California. Got really tired of that after a few months and resorted to staring, snarling, and saying, there is more to life than weather. I have since decided that both misconceptions are actually just the result of a lack of knowledge. And so tonight I would like to share a bit more about California with all of you. So, the state of California is approximately the same length as the UK. They're both just over 700 miles long. And therefore, there is quite a bit of room for a variety of climates and subcultures. The state is called the Golden State, but not because of the sunshine. It is because the gold rush happened there, and also because of the golden poppies, which are the California state flower. And during the spring, they bloom prolifically in just about any field that you find up and down the state. Absolutely gorgeous. The state can be divided into roughly 3 sections, northern, central, and southern California. Northern California, which starts at the Oregon border and extends down to kind of a line from San Francisco up to Lake Tahoe here, that's where I'm from. I'm from pretty much the middle of Northern California. That's at least where I was raised. I was raised in a very small town that was surrounded on 3 sides by mountain ranges, 2 of which had volcanoes. No beach, no palm trees. It felt like a fairly boring place to live, but it really was quite beautiful. We had 4 definite seasons, and my favorite was springtime, because everything around us just turned the most magical, vibrant shades of green. There were wildflowers of every color in all of the fields, and the streams and the river and the lakes reflected the most crystalline blue sky, brilliant white puffy clouds, and all those various shades of green from the pine trees and the cottonwood trees and the manzanita bushes and everything else that was growing around. In the summer, we invariably had at least 2 to 3 weeks, if not more, of a time frame there where the temperature reached 45 degrees Celsius every single day. And in the winter, it got as low as 0 and below. So much for eternal sunshine and perpetual warmth. Most of Northern California is quite mountainous, and so therefore it receives a lot of snow during the winter. The coastline is very dramatic. Where there are mountains, sheer sides of cliffs just plunge directly into the water. And where there are beaches, there are rip tides and currents that can just grab you in. The ocean itself is very cold and wild. There's a lot of surf, large waves, and in general, it's not what people think of when they think of the laying of the palm tree and the beach. Now, San Francisco, as I mentioned, is kind of the dividing line here, but both north and south of San Francisco are where the redwood trees grow. The redwoods are some of the tallest trees on the planet, and when you stand in a grove of redwood trees, it's an awe-inspiring experience. The trees themselves literally grow to over 350 feet tall. You're standing on a carpet of fallen pine needles. They're soft and cushy below your feet. The spicy scent of the redwood trees permeates the air around you, and the hush of nature fills your soul. And if you're standing in just the right place at just the right time, you catch glimpses of magical sunbeams filtering their way through the branches and casting beautiful shapes on the grove around you. The city of San Francisco is a unique experience unto itself. It's comprised of amazing architecture down hills, beautiful views of the bays and bridges beyond. And invariably at night, you can hear foghorn in the distance as the mist and fog starts to creep over the city. There's usually always a cold breeze or a cold wind coming through. The city itself offers a cornucopia of food adventures. There really is no city or area anywhere else in California quite like San Francisco. Now, Central California has a variety of landscapes. There are two primary mountain ranges. One is the coastal mountain range, which carries down the west side of the state. The other is the Sierra Nevada mountain range, of which Yosemite is a part. If you're into hill walking or mountain climbing, the Sierra Nevadas are absolutely the place to go. If you've ever stood on top of the peak of one of those mountains, say in Yosemite National Park, and you cast your eyes out into the distance, where it just seems like wave upon wave of mountains carry on as far as you can see, you've never felt smaller in your life. Truly amazing. The middle bit here, that which lies in between the mountain ranges, is comprised of a plethora of orchards and fields, because that is where the majority of California's fruit, vegetables, grain, and nuts are grown. And actually, from 1/3 to 1/4 of America's food source is located here, in the central area here. There's also quite a bit of it that's devoted to livestock. So, if you're into picking fruit, irrigating farms, and feeding cows, by all means, head to that part of Central California. And if not, then keep on driving, because it will take you about 6 hours to drive down to the tourist Mecca, where you will find Hollywood, Rodeo Drive, and Mickey Mouse, Southern California. Now, Southern California can be divided into almost 3 vertical parts. The easternmost part, you might think you accidentally landed in Sahara if you go there. This part of the country, or the state rather, contains the Mojave Desert, Death Valley, and the lowest, hottest part of the entire North American continent, Badwater Basin. And the area looks about as inviting as it sounds. The middle section here is where you will, yes indeed, find Hollywood, Rodeo Drive, Beverly Hills, Disneyland, and Baywatch, although it is a bit further on the coast. But this section here is the concrete jungles of the San Bernardino, San Fernando Valley, Los Angeles, and Orange County, all of which run right into one another with no boundaries in between, mile after mile after mile of buildings, freeways, and traffic jams. The coast is, as you see it on films and TV shows, all those sandy beaches, surfers riding the waves, miles of bodies with suntan lotion slathered on them trying to achieve the perfect tan or sunburn, and all those seagulls scrounging around the rubbish for the leftover fast food. Just to the south of that is San Diego. It does have a coastal area, but as with the rest of Southern California, it is coastal desert. Palm Springs is in about this area, and basically what that all means is that all the palm trees that are at the beaches were imported from the desert. So, there you have a brief overview of California. Mountains, flatlands, big cities, large towns, small towns. 45% of California is covered in forest, 25% is desert. Essentially, you can find anything you want in California. Just remember, whether it's California, Cambodia, or Kazakhstan, there is more to life than weather.
Excellent. Would you like to take 2 minutes to put together